Everybody.
Who they make that noise? Me mute, I beg.
So everybody is muted. So I will for those of you that you know, there are etiquettes that guide online class like this. For example, your device, the device you're using, it could be phone, it could be computer, you should name it. So if I see somebody using iPhone 6, Techno, I'm not going to call you if I thought you raise your hands, okay? So when you're logging onto a class like this, make sure your device is well named with your name, not alias. Many people have their devices named, but some still do not. That's one. The second ethics of online class like this is you don't show your bare body, your nudeness. You should be properly dressed. And you should be properly dressed, not just when your video is on, but when your video is not on. Because sometimes your video escapes and you don't know. So you should be properly dressed. So I've seen guys being bare-chested, wearing singlets, you know, and you're online. If perchance you raise your hand, you want to ask a question, I'm not going to call you because you should be properly dressed. Another idea is for you to mute yourself. You're entering a class. You don't just, we don't need to listen to your background noise. Mute yourself. If not that people won't comply with this, we really do not need to mute everybody. Okay, we all could act as mature adults and have this class in peace and harmony. But many people would not want to do that, would not want to adhere to that. Okay, so I just thought to say that generally. So I'm going to go on to sharing my screen now so that we can begin the class proper. So sharing my screen. I'm going to slideshow. Okay. So just as you know, the course is History and Philosophy of Science, and this is week 5 of lectures. Week 5. Last week was week 4. This is week 5. We have 3 more weeks to end facilitation. You can see my screen, I'm sure. So this image on the screen, look at it and just tell me in the chat, what does it speak to you? What does the image on the screen speak to you? What does it say to you? What can you deduce from the image on the screen? The edge, you have birds flying, evolution, thinking, humans, okay. Sunday Daniel, Adeyemo, mindset of man, okay, is not of a woman. A human head with so much creativity, thinking, full of imagination. Okay, cool. Thank you. Thank you all. I just want to get you talking. Man's thoughts, human thoughts, diversity, great one. Full of knowledge, greater modular Esther, favor Solubisi. Good, good, good. Okay. So, history of Western science. You see, in the last 3 classes, we've been discussing history of Western science. The last module of, the last unit of module 1 discussed what you have on the screen. The first one, in ancient times. This is just to bring those who might probably be coming to this class for the first time up to speed so that they are not too lost. So then we moved to module 2. So we've been discussing history of Western science in the last 3 classes. And we're still going to discuss some more of it in this class. So this history of Western science, the discussion started in unit 5 of module 1. And we looked at the history in ancient times. Somebody is writing on the screen, okay? Please just listen, don't fiddle with anything. So then we looked at history of, we looked at history of Western science in the Middle Ages of Europe. We did that in unit 1 of module 2. In unit 2 of module 2, which was last week, we looked at history of science the rise of modern science. That's how we started. We've been discussing in the last 3 classes, this class inclusive, making 4, we've been examining history of Western science in different epochs, in ancient times, in Middle Ages, in modern science, okay? We'll still look at it in modern science again in this class. That's what we've been discussing. So in today's class, we're looking at the unit 3 of our module 2, and we're examining the 20th century scientific revolution. I know we touched on that a little bit last week, but we're looking at it more in this class. So that's what the focus of this class is on. Now, in various platforms in which you were informed of this class, you were asked to read ahead this particular unit, which is our discussion in this class. So I would like you to tell me in the chat box, what is this scientific revolution in 20th century? Contribute your thoughts. What is scientific revolution in 20th century? Or if you want to say 1 or 2 things instead of that, you can type, you can raise up your hand. If you raise up your hand, I will call 1 or 2 persons. Then I will also look in the chat box and comment. So if you want to talk, you raise your electronic hands. Akinsonya Akoyo, raise your electronic hands. At least fiddle with it and find how to do that. Okay. Okay, I'll call Titus to unmute. Okay, formulation of theory of relativity. Are you sure? Okay, yes. I'm calling Titus Japheth. Unmute yourself. It is the science that reached its zenith. You've not said anything. Science that reached its
sorry.
So yeah.
The question again.
Since you didn't ask the question, you didn't hear the question, you don't need to raise your hands, okay? Don't waste our time. Sunday Helen, I'm asking you to unmute.
Good afternoon, Ma.
Yeah, good afternoon. Briefly. I can hear you. Go on.
20th century scientific revolution. It was a century where the X-ray was discovered by Rockgen during the
Wonderful.
20th century, and other also discovery also. That's a few things. Thank you, Ma.
Thank you. Thank you. That's cool. I'll call Leonard. I'm calling Leonard to unmute himself. Leonard, is he there? Okay, so I'm calling Adeyemi Boluwatife. Okay, so unmute yourself.
Good afternoon, Ma.
Yes, good afternoon.
Science revolution in 20th century was a series of events that marked
your first material.
No, Ma.
All right.
I wrote it down.
Okay, good.
It was a series of events that marked the emergence of modern science during the early modern period.
Okay. What are those?
Development.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
Ma.
All right. Thank you. So Okunuga, can you unmute yourself? Okay. Can you speak? Okay. So as not to take too much of our time, let's move on. So looking in the chat now, it was that century aeroplane was invented. Ahmad Fadimatu, thank you, that's true. It touches all aspects of life. The unit of genetic engineering, cloning in the knowledge of life. Great. You all have contributed very well. Okay, so on the screen you have those various inventions. Some of you have mentioned. I didn't see anybody mention. War. Okay, but you all mentioned X-ray, biotechnology, transport and communication, war. Okay. Can you hear me? You can hear me, right? Excuse. Can you hear me now? You should hear me now. Okay, good. Sorry, I'm very sorry I had to leave. It was very, very important. Okay. Hope I'm pardoned. Okay, sorry. It was very important I leave before house gets burnt. Sorry. Okay, so I'll just take off from where we left off. So physical sciences, X-ray, you mentioned it, and it was also on the previous screen I showed as the inventions. So important discoveries in physics is one of the discoveries, scientific revolution, especially in the physical science. So in December of 1895, the person known as Wilhelm Röntgen, who was a German and a physicist, he was the one who discovered X-ray. Somebody already mentioned it. So it's important to note that just in case you come across it in any of your TMAs. Wilhelm Röntgen in 1895 discovered X-rays. Before we go into the different ways in which X-ray is used, I want you to tell me in the chat box, you can see the question, type right away in the chat box some ways in which X-rays are used. So I'm in the chat box looking. What are the ways in which X-ray, we use X-ray? Have you heard of X-ray before? I think I shouldn't ask that question. You all must have heard of X-ray before, okay, or even done an X-ray to check broken bones, yes. For scanning internal organs, wonderful, that's cool. Okay, so I'm looking. Okay, Haruna Okunuga, Daniel Bolutife, yes, to discover dislocation, great. iPhone, rename yourself, I said that, okay. Glory for checking kidney, medically broken bone, review hidden cracks, wonderful. You all are brilliant students, scanning the heart, to scan the body, yes, experimental, review broken cracks, to destroy cancerous cells. Yes, yes, to look at bone, yes. Great, you all have made wonderful contributions. So the slides we are going to now to check abdomen. Good, yes. So the slides we are going on, what you have all contributed has softened the ground. It will become better understood to you. So, uses of X-ray in hospitals. Many of you have mentioned uses of X-ray that pertain to hospitals. They are known, used to destroy cancerous cells. To look at bones, you contributed that. To check if there are bones that are broken or dislocated, especially after there had been an accident. You know that. In industries, there are various places where X-ray is used. In hospitals, which come readily to us, in industries as well. X-ray photographs, they are used to reveal hidden cracks in metal castings and welded joints. You also contributed. Used to detect alterations, whether there are changes which have been made to artworks, artworks. You can use X-ray to see, have they been altered, have they been changed, or is it maintaining its original integrity? Also, in this slide, we're looking at the theory of relativity of Albert Einstein. Somebody made mention of that. I think somebody called Oromakinde or something. This was in 1905. You might also want to commit that to memory just in case it comes out in your TMA or exam. So, theory of relativity of Einstein is said to be the most disturbing or upsetting of all results of 20th century physics. Theory of relativity is a theory in physics. It's because the theory, he redefined physics, like it caused like a revolution. Remember last week, we were talking about Copernican revolution, the heliocentric and geocentric. where we said it's revolutionary. It changed what people knew the world to be. So in physics as well, there was something like that. The theory of relativity redefined physics. So what it did was to make the physics of Newton, that's Newtonian physics, obsolete. It makes it whole. And if you remember when we were treating scientific method under the various steps, we had the old theory does not become useless. So an instance of relativity, which redefined physics at the time. And so it made the earlier theory of Newton, Isaac Newton, Newtonian, classical Newtonian physics, it made it obsolete. It made it old school. Okay. So when this theory of relativity was first published, it was said that it was so reified, so abstract or something like that, that there were only 12 scientists or thereabouts that could understand it, but it was also quite significant. Another idea that characterized the scientific revolution of the 20th century, which you also contributed to and which was displayed on the slides earlier, is biotechnology. So what is biotechnology? First, biotechnology is now recognized, is now acknowledged as one of the most important developments of the 20th century. Biotechnology is that important, seen, accorded the place as, or the idea that it's one of the most important developments that happened in the 20th century. You know, we are in 21st century, so the century that we finished. So it's the technique that makes use of living organisms or parts of living organisms like cell to make or modify products, to improve plants or develop microorganisms for specific applications. Biotechnology is that technique, is a way through which we make use of living organisms or parts of organisms. It could be living organisms or part of it, such as the cell of the organism. And what is it used for? To make or modify products, to improve plants and animals, or to develop microorganisms for specific applications. Its aim to increase the production of goods and services for the benefit of humankind. That is one aim of it. Like, we need so much, the population is increasing. Through the use of biotechnology, we can increase our production of goods and services, maybe of food, for example, for the benefit of humankind. So biotechnology is not like an academic discipline, like we have it philosophy or chemistry or biology. No, rather, it is a product. You've applied the process to something, and so it's a product of something. It's a process that is multidisciplinary in nature. Biotechnology is rather a process. Okay, good. Okay. It's rather a process. It means that many disciplines, they are involved. When we say it's multidisciplinary, it incorporates many disciplines: microbiology, genetics, plant and animal biology, chemical and process engineering, and the likes. So some of the many uses of biotechnology are in test tube babies. You know what they call test tube babies. The babies conceived via IVF, in which fertilization took place not inside of the woman, but outside in a petri dish. That's why they call them test tube babies, used in IVF, in vitro fertilization, in artificial insemination, which could either be human insemination or animal, gene cloning, animal cloning. Those are many uses of biotechnology. Now, some of the techniques of biotechnology, what technique does it use? What technique does biotechnology make use of? That's what we have on the screen. Cell and tissue culture technique, that's one technique. Fermentation is another one. Cell fusion is another one. Embryo transfer is another one. Recombinant DNA is another one. So those are 5 techniques that biotechnology makes use of. Now to the next one, gene engineering. Gene engineering is the hardcore, is at the heart of biotechnology. And so this is the reason why many people mistake it and assume that biotechnology and genetic engineering, they are synonymous. Some even use them interchangeably. But no, they are not the same. Genetic engineering is just at the heart, is central to biotechnology. So what do we mean by genetic engineering? It's the transfer of genes from the name genetic, gene, from one organism to the other, maybe from plant to plant, human to human. And a gene, what is a gene? Basic units of heredity. So you say that my gene is good, or your gene is good because you have the gene of looking younger, kind of thing. It is hereditary. Zoom user, you are writing on this screen. You are using that marker. So genetic engineering, it was born in the 1980s. That was when it came to be. And it has various applications applied in many fields, pharmaceuticals, in agriculture, and in human cloning. In agriculture, for example, applications of genetic engineering include herbicide resistance. There are, in farming, for those of you who are farmed in one way or the other, Ibrahim Salihu, you are writing on the screen. For some of you who are farmed in one way or the other, by the time you've planted and your crop is growing, weeds will also be growing, and you want to use herbicide to kill the weeds. Sometimes in the process, you might end up killing the real crop that you're trying to protect from the weed. So through genetic engineering, they've been able to bring about plants like soybeans, maize that are resistant to herbicide. So in the course of spraying the farmland to kill weeds, this set of crops, they are resistant to herbicides that they don't end up dying as it's used to be. Another area in which we have the revolution under discussion is in transport and communication. Transport and communication, and some of you also mentioned it. Aeroplane, for example, is an invention in the 20th century. Imagine how people lived before that century, how they coped without this fastest means of transportation. When we were looking at in the Middle Ages, we said one of their major inventions, significant at the time, is the invention of the horse bar, in which I displayed the picture to you, that we said the horse bar and the horse something, it helps the horse to be able to move faster, because the use of horses, it was the major means of transportation at that time. So when they got to invent horse bar and that other one, I can't remember, it helped them. That was long ago in medieval philosophy, in Middle Ages. But in this 20th century, aeroplane happens to be the invention. So in 1903, you see it highlighted, 2 American bicycle makers, Oval and Wright. They were the one who built the first petrol engine aeroplane. And so it became the first aeroplane, not only to lift persons into the air, so it was able to lift persons into the air, but it also fly successfully. It flew successfully at the time. This was in 1903, 20th century. So the 2 brothers, they got the credit for building the first aeroplane. So if you're asked, when was it first built? 1903, by these 2 brothers, Oval and Wright. They were initially bicycle makers. They were making bicycle for a living. Let them be writing on the screen. I can't say that enough. Stop writing on the screen. Stop distracting people. They keep writing. Thank you. Somebody told me collar. That's horseshoe and horse collar. Thank you. I don't know what they derive from it. You are just blurring it for your own viewing, for the viewing of others. So aeroplanes with jet engines, they were built during the late 1930s. Aeroplanes. You see when the first aeroplane was built, but the ones with jet engines, that is, they can move very fast, which we're going to see shortly, how fast they could move. They were built in 1930s by German engineers, this time not by Americans. So the first supersonic passenger airline called Concorde, it began flight services in Europe and United States in 1976. So these are called supersonic jets. And the reason they are called supersonic jets is because they could travel 2,400 kilometers per hour. It says pretty fast, supersonic, which means they exceed the power of sound. The way these jets, sound travels very far. But this supersonic jets that we're discussing, the speed goes beyond the speed of sound. So normal aeroplanes that are not supersonic, they travel only at 800 to 1,000 kilometers per hour. So the 20th century is also the century known as called the space age. So even though humans previously, they studied the planets and heavenly bodies from the Earth with the aid of instruments, they were able to do that. We mentioned some of the instruments last week. Telescope was invented by Galileo and so on and so forth. It was in the 20th century that decided to go to some of those planets and heavenly bodies to see what they looked like. Remember, or is it Nostradamus that traveled, or is it Leon Armstrong? I can't remember now. Either of them traveled into the space, was the first person to travel into space. But this was in 20th century. So they travel into other planets other than Earth. Earth is just one of the planets that we have. So a 27-year-old Russian called Yuri Gagarin was the first person to be in space. And it was called the Columbus of the interplanetary age. Columbus of Armstrong. Thank you, Ugochi. Yes, Armstrong. Okay, that's the name. Okay. So, and the first American in space is called Alan Shepard. If you don't get any of these ideas that I think you're taking note of, don't ask me. They are in your course material. I got these all from your course material. Nothing is strange from your course material. They are just points to call your attention to. Alan Shepard, first American in space. Remember, this 27-year-old was a Russian, okay? The first person to be in space, which makes the world a global village. We touched on this idea somehow last week when you all told me where you were listening to this lecture from, and we had somebody as far as Tunisia. So it is a mode of communication, and it was 20th century that was decisive and that made communication a global. True communication made the world a global village in which the distance of space and geography, they are both collapsed. So the traditional electronic means of communication like fax that we know, telephone, especially those ring that you will do like this, not mobile, radio and television are now commonplace devices. Even beyond those ones, we have mobile phones, we have laptops, we have super smartphones, okay? So the first communication satellite referred to as ECHO-1 was first launched in 1960 in the United States. And communication satellite is a transportation vehicle launched into space to transport Existing forms of communication devices like camera, radios, and television. They serve as relay station and relay several television programs or many thousands of telephone calls all at once. And so still on communication, we have electronic digital computer being built, called ENIAC, that's electronic numerical integrator computer. That's the first electronic digital computer being built in 1936. It was also in the 20th century. And it was built by two engineers, J. Presper Eckert and Junior and John William Marchley. Electronic digital computer. The internet, I said it already, and we looked at it. We made reference to how it has revolutionized things last week as well. It was an invention of the 20th century, beginning from the 70s, as a US Defense Department network called ARPANET. So what then is the internet? What is a network? So you can see what the in-class task that we have. I want you to type in the charts some of the facilities and services which internet can provide to subscribers. You have them at your fingertips. So just do that quickly, then we move on. Thank you, Ahmad Fadimatu. Thank you. Email, wonderful email. Chats, electronic mail, wonderful. Yes, these charts even. I'm in the chat, I'm seeing your contributions. Email, file transfer, to send email, friend, find friends, yes. For research, wonderful. Gives access to information. You are a very brilliant, serious student. I appreciate you. Yes, internet provides communication info. Yes, Lucy Ogu. Internet banking, wonderful. I like that one, Ipamoni. I need to have an here and alert. You facilitate trade as well. Google for search, yes. Zoom chats, wonderful. Yes, wonderful. Yes, dissemination of information to a wide range of audience, web services, video conferencing, wonderful. It reduces stress, my brother or sister, I tell you, it reduces stress like no man's business. Getting information for learning, wonderful. You all have contributed very well. Let's move on. So those are some ways in which we use internet. So we also have a negative contribution of the 20th century, that's war. Can you think of anything regarding war? How is it negative? Cybercrime, yes, cybercrime. That's why they are shouting cyber security now. Okay, so war, how is war? How does it contribute? Spread of fake news, wonderful, Azizat. Abiru Kayata says. Internet fraud. Okay, good. So tell me, war, loss of life, yes. Tell me more. There are certain destruction, yes. Nuclear bomb, Aruna, good. I was looking for that. Okay, spread of pornography, yes too, yes. Loss of property. We are on war now. War. Killing people, yes. I've seen one thing I'm looking for. Deteriorates economy. Atomic bomb, yes. I was looking for stuff like that. Atomic bomb, yes. Adreno be internet hackers, okay. Can I get something more on war? There are specific words I'm looking. Nuclear bomb, atomic bomb, yes. Missiles, wonderful. Those are words I'm looking for. The manufacture of such weapon of mass destruction. They can wipe out the entire earth in just one radar, wonderful. I've seen what I'm looking for, thank you. You see, the manufacture of not just guns, but weapons of war that are so deadly, like extremely deadly, that if released, all of us were just like that. Okay, so let's look at it in detail. So in the 20th century as well, it's very key. Science in 20th century is also very key to victory. And that's why many nations have entered into the race of who will be the first with radar, atomic bomb, nuclear submarine, hydrogen, and neutron bombs. Okay. So 20th century also brought about the manufacture of some of these weapons of mass destruction. Remember when Russia and Russia and America, they were threatening themselves when they had a fight, and they were threatening the world about releasing how much destructive arsenals they have and how they could use it. Yes, Russia and Ukraine come to mind. Wonderful, that's true. Nuclear vandalization, yes. Nuclear hydrogen, yes. Russia and yes, Ukraine and US too, exactly. If you follow the news, artillery, rifle, weapons, good. So if you follow the news at the time, you will know that the world, we were threatened because of just these two people, because they had so much. The 20th century was also was the big contributor to the development of some of these weapons of mass destruction. So why is a great threat to humans in this ecosystem that we inhabit? Well, nuclear wars, they are real, and could the human race and could wipe out the human race out of existence within the twinkling of an eye. Okay, so we've come to the end of the class. It has huge devastating effects. That's why I highlighted it in big red, so that you know. The science for the 20th century is also key in bringing about victory. So bringing about the invention or development of some of these weapons of mass destruction. So we come to the end of the class. Summary of what we've done. In this class, as we did we have discussed Unit 3 of Module 2. And that Unit 3 of Module 2 is titled 20th Century Scientific Revolution. The ideas we've discussed there are X-ray, the invention, various places in which it's used, industries, and hospitals. We looked at biotechnology and how genetic engineering is at the core of biotechnology. We looked at transportation and communication, and we looked at war. That's the end of today's class. But again, next week, we're going to be looking at these two modules next week, Friday. Same time, same venue, same link and passcode. The Lost Sciences of Africa. Units 4 and 5. We're going to look at both. So think about it. Maybe some of you, I know you've read it. If you've not read it, let it make you curious. Did Africa, or does Africa have science? Why is it that we hardly discuss it? Why is it that Western science has overshadowed us? Why is it that we don't use our own thing? Why is it that we don't promote our own? Let it motivate you. Let it whet your appetite and want to know more. So read ahead so that we can have a more robust discussion, because this is our own. Remember, at the beginning of the class, I started by, I didn't bring this particular slide to class for fun. It's because I had the last slide, the Lost Sciences of Africa, in mind. You see, we looked at history of science, ancient period, looked at history of science, Middle Ages, look at history of science in modern period. Then we are now in this class, we've looked at it specifically in the 20th century, which is modern period, so in fact, contemporary period. So by next week, we're looking at that which is our own, Lost Sciences of Africa. So make sure you read ahead so that you can contribute meaningfully to the discussion that we'll have. So, you all are awesome. Thank you for your kind attention, for being in class. So it's time for question and answer. Just as we normally do, you raise your hands and I call you. I ask you to unmute, speak briefly, and we'll take it from there. Are we together? Okay, so that's that. If you have questions, comments, try and make them brief so that we can take as many as possible. Okay, I'll start by calling Stephen Gabriel. Unmute yourself and unmute yourself.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Yes, good afternoon.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for this wonderful lecture, ma'am.
Thank you too. Thank you for being in class.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Sorry, ma'am. I just have only one question. Then my network was in glitch, so I couldn't hear you properly. So
All
I
right.
just need the techniques of biotechnology, ma'am.
Fermentation is one of it. Fermentation is one of the techniques. You can see fermentation technology, cell fusion, embryo, but not that you have this in your course material and you can watch the video later. But that's it. Would that be all?
Okay.
That's all, right?
Yeah, that would be all.
Okay, thank you. Have a great continue with the class. Anita, I'm calling Anita. Unmute yourself. Is she there? Sharp, sharp, sharp,
Good
sharp.
evening, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Hello, ma'am. Good
I can
afternoon,
hear you. I can hear you. Good afternoon.
Yes, ma'am. I understood everything you taught in the class, and I'm very grateful. But I just want to ask. I was trying to add contributions. I was trying to send text, but I wasn't able to. So I don't know. Maybe it's from the settings or something.
Go on,
Hello, ma'am.
Anita. Can Anita go on?
Yes. I'm here, ma'am. I was saying that I understood everything you taught perfectly, and I'm very grateful. But it's just that I was not able to send any text messages. I wasn't able to contribute. I don't know if it's from my settings or something. Because I was trying to contribute, I was trying to text some answers, but
Okay. Who was I calling? The network was misbehaving. I'll call on. Okay. Anita can be here. Adeyemi Boluwatife, is she here? Unmute yourself.
According to what Anita said, so I couldn't type on the meeting chat when you were asking questions. I couldn't type. I don't know if it's from my setting or I don't know.
Who is speaking now? Is it Anita or Adeyemi Boluwatife?
Adeyemi.
You couldn't chat?
Yes, when you were asking questions.
Okay, I don't
so I don't know if it's
know.
for my setting.
Maybe. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I saw your chat. You were unable to contribute. Did I see your message? You must have dropped it. Thank you. I don't know. I don't know why you couldn't chat. I couldn't chat too. I don't know. I really don't know. But many other people were able to. You were disabled. Okay, I don't know. Sorry about it. Hopefully next week it will be better. Would that be all? Boluwatife? Remarkinde was also disabled. Okay. Okay, somebody is saying update your Zoom app. All right, I'm sorry about that. I don't know what happened. Ohaka Winyechi, I'm asking you to unmute since your hand is raised.
Yes, it's the same. Good afternoon, madam.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
The same thing applicable to me. I was trying to type to answer, but it was not going.
Okay.
About a sitting, about a sitting. What did he formulate in the theory?
Theory of relativity, Albert Einstein.
Theory of relativity.
Yes, theory of relativity. Theory of relativity. It's in your course material.
Okay, theory of relativity. Okay, thank you. So I was able to check. I was able to send message. I tried like
okay. three times. Sorry about that. I don't know whether it is from my end. Others were able to. So maybe you update your Zoom app or something.
I just downloaded that Zoom app this month.
Okay, okay, Onyechi, let's take other people. Thank you. Please, we know that some people could not chat. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. Update your Zoom app and let's see what happens next week. But we saw that other people were able. So don't bring that to this. If you have questions, let's just address it. Not that you were not able to chat. I can't explain what happened. Technology is like that sometimes. Onyagba, I'm asking you to unmute. Ujunwa. Ellie.
Hello, ma. Good evening, ma.
Good evening, ma'am.
Oh, I really enjoyed the class, but ma, today is my first time joining your class, so I don't know if I can get the previous class records so that I can go through them.
Yes, they are on your e-learn. Have you been using your e-learn platform?
Yeah, I've searched for video, Zoom live or video live, but I've not seen any there.
Video line? No, it's under facilitation recordings in your e-learn on this particular course. For every week, I go there and drop the link to this video. Are you in any of the WhatsApp platforms?
No, ma. I've requested for the link, but it has not been sent to me, ma.
Remind me before we close the class. Maybe I can put it in the chat box.
I've sent it through chat, ma.
Somebody, no.
Let me do it again, ma.
No, don't send your numbers to me. See, there are lots of students to attend to. I can't be adding people one after the other. Your own is to click on the link. If you have challenge, look for somebody around that may be able to help you. So to send you my number, your number, and say I should add you, that won't work.
How will I get the link? How will I get the link? How will I get the link?
I won't be able to do any other thing. I have so many things. Somebody please remind me in the chats before we close this class so that I copy the link and paste in the chat. But if you interact with your e-learn platform, it has been there since. All right?
Thank you, ma.
All right, ma. Bye.
Oh, ma.
Thank you. So I will call ITEL A33. Be sure that I won't call you. I'll call Okunuga Abibat. Unmute yourself.
Okay, good afternoon, ma. I really enjoyed this class. Please, ma, I just want you to throw more light on. You said genetic engineering is the core, is the hardcore of biotechnology. Please, and that people normally misunderstand the two, concepts. Please, can you throw? How do we differentiate between the two, between genetic engineering and biotechnology, please, ma?
About biotechnology is like an umbrella name. think of genetic engineering as an aspect of it that is used. So a byproduct of of biotechnology is genetic engineering. But because of its use that is also very huge, many people, and because it's central to biotechnology, many people tend to think that they are the same and even use them interchangeably. But no, they are not. That's what we're saying. It's like, okay, maybe that analogy would not work, but that's what it means. A byproduct of biotechnology, like an offshoot of, or like a baby of biotechnology, is genetic engineering. The genetic engineering has many uses. And because of that, we say it is the hardcore, it's central, it's at the heart of biotechnology itself, but they are not the same. It's a subset. Somebody gave me a word to use. Thank you, Elegbede Origini. It's a subset of biotechnology. That's genetic engineering. Is that okay, ma'am?
Yes, it's clear. It's okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, whom should I call? ITEL A33. You can be sure I won't call you. That was the first thing I said in this class. Name your device. So Victoria Ebodu, you have the floor. Unmute yourself. Victoria, unmute yourself. It's already past 4. We need to move faster.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Yes, good afternoon.
Thank you. I really enjoy your class. The same question I want to ask. This is my first time of joining the class, so I wanted to ask so that if you can throw more light on what we have discussed in the former lecture. That is what I want to ask. I really enjoyed this one that I joined today.
Thank you, Victoria.
Yes,
our time for this class is 3 to 4. It's past 4. We can't throw more light on 4 weeks of lecture in this class. What you could do to help yourself is go to eLearn, click on the links for each week and watch the video and read your course material. Okay. But what I told somebody last week was that if we're able to finish this class and we have maybe a week left, I can do a recap of what we've done in 8 weeks in a class, a quick recap. Okay, but you will still do well for yourself if you watch each of the links for the week.
All right, ma. Thank you so much, ma.
Thank you too. So I'm just trying to pick at random now. Mute yourself, Victoria. Tachia, David. Unmute yourself. Tachia, David. Unmute yourself. Good afternoon.
You talk about transfer of gene, and you said something about if your chicken is laying small eggs and you want laying big eggs, you transfer.
Come again. Sorry, come again.
You said something concerning if your chicken is laying small egg. I got that in the course materials here. Was transfer. If your chicken is laying small egg and you want your chicken to be laying that big egg, you get the transfer of gene of that one that's laying big egg, so that you'll be getting the big egg. What if in man? I want to ask in a human being, can that be possible if you have as a man or a lady that's giving birth to only female children and you want to get a male? Can that be possible to be done? Can you be able to transfer that so that you get a male children instead of females?
Okay, thank you, Tachia. I hope I remember the name. So that's under genetic engineering. You see, there's a lot of things that is possible. Like the other day, I saw what's it called? Pawpaw tree. Pawpaw tree is short like this. You know, pawpaw used to be long now, that you will need stick. This pawpaw tree was very short, like I can just use my hand and pluck it. Even children can easily pluck. it's a form of genetic engineering, all these modified plants, seeds and all. Maybe what you've said, maybe not as it's not directly the way you could use chicken example with humans, but there are ways they do it now for human. But you also know the explanation around having male children, female children, the man is responsible, the kind of chromosomes that he gave the woman and all. But people do all sorts of prediction in order to be able to have a particular sex of children and all that. The reason why the exact thing you read about big egg, small egg in chicken would not hold sway in humans is because of ethical reasons. That you can't just, yes, there are ethics around it. And you know, ethics acts as watchdogs on inventions, on science, on technology. So it will really be like objectification of women if you want to go through that means, you want to inject. But they do, you know, there are kinds of technology that could help you even to determine the sex of the child you're having, or some they call sex selection, you know, in which they take part of the amniocentric fluid, check it in the lab and all that. So there are various other advances that could be done, but not necessarily following the egg type of thing. That's what I want to say.
Sorry, thank you very much, man. Thank you. I'm very impressed.
Thank you. So I'm going to call, I want to end this class by, it's past 4. See, somebody is telling you something in the chat. Being altered is kind of another field, modifying, okay. So you could read that. I want to end this class by 4:15. Okay, so those whom we can pick, we'll pick. Those we cannot pick, no vex. We can't take everybody. So I'm looking out for, I'll call Faith or Kafo. Faith or Kafo, unmute yourself.
Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon.
My question, thank you for the class.
Thank you too.
My question is about the theory of relativity. So you say it's the redefine of physics. So I want to know whether is it part of the discovery of atomic structure, like that is not as simple as they thought. Is the theory part of it?
Which atomic structure is that?
Like in the reading material, they say the discovery of X-ray was like, it helped in the discovery of atomic structure that is not as simple as they thought it was.
Okay, I think your course material will provide more details on that. But the main point on that theory of relativity is the significance it has, because it displays an existing theory, that's Newtonian theory, making it it's made it obsolete. I'm trying to see where it is so that we can spotlight it. Okay, so that we can spotlight it. Okay, so this is what it's saying. You can have more details in your course material, but this is the main gist of it, of the matter.
Okay.
Einstein theory of relativity. Okay, we have 5 more minutes. That's 15 minutes extra. I will call, please mute yourself. I don't know who the person I called again. Mute yourself, Akukini Samson. Unmute yourself. Is it there?
Okay, I'm here, ma'am. Good afternoon. Good evening.
Good afternoon.
My question is on the genetic engineering.
Okay.
Yes. I don't know how harmful it is to modify all these modified seed, like mango. You talk about pawpaw. So I don't know how harmful are they to our human body.
That's a very insightful question. But the ethics of it, ethics of genetic engineering, it goes beyond the confine, the scope of this class. I don't know if you get it. The question you asked borders on ethics. How much should we do? Because we have the technology at hand. It's been known to be kind of harmful. You know, you have these seedless mango, seeds, or all those kind of things, seedless orange and the likes. Of course, many people say they want the organic, and that's what organic and the likes and all that. So it borders on ethics. Maybe here our own NAFDAC will try as much as possible, or our own IITA, where IITA in, I think is in Ibadan, where there's the Institute of Agriculture, where they try to do all this, you know? But it's they try to make it as safe as possible, but it is also the idea of having some seeds or some crops modified. I brought about the idea of what do you call it, organic, like leave it as it is, so that one can be sure of what one is eating, you get. So you may just read that more on your own regarding the ethics of genetic engineering. So the scope is beyond that. Okay, thank you. I will call Lucy Obu. Unmute yourself. Is she there? Lucy Obu.
Yes, ma. Good afternoon, ma.
Okay,
sorry, ma. I'm a new student and I don't know if this, in my course material, I saw tutored mark assignment. Are we to do the assignment, or is it on the WhatsApp platform or in our e-learning portal?
My sister. CMA. That's what it means. Yes, you have to do tutor marked assignments.
Okay. What of we that are just joining on newly? Can we still redo those ones that you that's past week's questions and answers?
You, her colleagues, you are listening, please try and educate her in the chat box. Lucy, look in the chat box. They will explain certain things to you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Look in the chat. Please, I beg you. Just explain a few things to her. Send her. Some of you are on that platform, GST 105. Please post the link. Don't let me go through that. Post the link in the chat. Let people see. Let people join so that they know what is going on. But please respond to Lucy in the chat, the questions she's asking. They will be in the best position to answer you, Lucy. Thank you. And somebody please help to put the links to the WhatsApp platform in the chat box here right away. Thank you. I will call, how many people do we have? Ismaila. I'm not calling those that have spoken in other classes. Okay, we have 6 hands up. 6 hands. I'll give you all numbers. I'll mute you all. Abi, I will unmute you. Don't make sure your background is noiseless. Esu Patrick, number 1. Oroma Kinde, number 2. Fatima Abubakar, number 3. Undi Rika Moses, number 4. Ismail Ajoke, number 5, and Bishop, number 6. So those 6 I take and Stephanie for the class. Oh yeah, number 1.
Oh, good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, sorry, though my question is in regards to previous class.
Okay, well.
the geocentric and the heliocentric theory. So I want to know if these two theories has anything to do with eclipse of the sun or moon.
For eclipse?
Yes, eclipse.
Eclipse, I don't think so. I don't think so. There are theories, okay, heliocentric at the center of the earth and other bodies revolving. So eclipse happens when, I don't know the explanation for eclipse now. Yeah, maybe when there is an alteration, when the sun is inside, and so we have some dark shade, I suppose. Heliocentric is that the sun is at the center of the universe and you have other planetary bodies revolving around it. When eclipse happens, we normally have darkness during the day as against in the night, right?
Yeah, yes.
So something happens, something covers the sun at that period. So maybe not direct correlation, but maybe a movement of the sun at a particular point in the year, and it causes darkness during the day.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Number two.
Good evening, ma.
Good evening.
Yeah, ma, my question is the second basic part of Albert's theory that said the only absolute unchanging quantity in the universe was the speed of light. Ma, I don't really get that point, so I want you to throw more light.
You just read did you just read your course material?
Not my course material, the notes I jot down.
When? Last week?
No, from today's class.
Okay, Albert.
You gave us, yeah. From this same unit we are reading, unit 3.
Is it on this slide?
Yes. The second theory of Albert Einstein.
What's the second theory?
It says, the basic part of his theory said that the only absolute unchanging quantity in the universe was the speed of light. So I don't really understand that speed of light. I don't really know what that entails.
You know that what you just read is an aspect. Awele Azubike, what are you writing on the screen? What you just read is an aspect. You picked an aspect of this theory of relativity and you read it. Now understand it from the beginning. Einstein proposed theory of relativity. In this theory of relativity, it redefined physics. And one of the offshoots of it is the idea of the speed of light that you talked about.
Okay.
So when the theory was published, it was said that only 12 or so scientists would understand it. So what you read at is a continuation of what we have on the screen. And if you merge them together, it makes an absolute sense. But if you read that in view of what we said and reflect on it, maybe it will become clear.
All right, thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, too. Number 3. Who is number 3? Who is number 3? Okay, number 3. Number 4.
Good evening, ma.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I can hear you. Go on.
Okay, ma. My question is based on the e-learning the e-learning sites for the online classes. There is this how will I know when any TMA any TMA assessment or assignment is due for me to attempt? Like how do I know when to attempt either one or two, because there are 3 of them that day. So how will I know like when to attempt the first one, second one, or third one?
Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. This is another Lucy. Please, class, are you in the WhatsApp platform?
Yes, ma'am.
So ask question there now. CMAs, as I know, they are released batch by batch. CMA 1, I think it was released on March 4, if I remember correctly. Then when that is done, you have CMA 2, you have CMA 3. If I know correctly, you can't attend CMA 2 without attending CMA 1. So what you will do is your e-learn, you will always check it, interact with it. Okay.
Is it based on what you have been taught already, or is it something else?
I wouldn't know, but it is within the confines of your course material. So it may not be where we've covered. That's why it's good for you to read ahead. Or it could be based on where we've covered. At the very first class, I had students asking similar questions, and I told them about skimming your course material first. Skim it, look through it, so that you'll be familiar with it as much as possible.
Okay.
Yes. So on the platform, WhatsApp platform, I also ask questions, let them put you through. Please, if you have answer to his concern, put it in the chat box. He would look at it. Please, maybe I should designate someone. Boluwatife, Olumakinde, Esu, Pascal, at least those names I know. Put in the chat box the link to WhatsApp platform. Thank you. So that they can join, those who cannot join. And please, I'm not able to add anybody. Don't send me your number. It's not possible for me to be adding you. Right? If you are unable to click on the link on e-learn, ask people around you how you can resolve it. Maybe your internet or whatever. But to send me your number to add you, I won't be able to do that because there are so many students and so many things to be done. So I'm going to call, that's number 4 or 5. Moses, are you number 4 or 5?
Number 4. Thank you, ma'am.
Number 5, Ismail, Ajoke, then Bishop, and that will be all. Unmute yourself. Ajoke Ismail. Ajoke Ismail.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, ma.
Yes, yes.
Thank you so much for the class, ma. May Allah bless you. Yes, ma, please, I'm a new student.
Okay.
Please, ma, where can I get the previous class that you have done, ma?
God of mercy. On e-learn. Do you know e-learn?
Yes, ma, I've been checking the e-learn, but the video are always not available.
It's there. Every week I go and drop it. I even still checked it today. There are 4. Every week you have week 1, link, week 2, link,
yes,
week 3, week 4, link. It's there.
Okay, thank you.
I also put the link in the WhatsApp, one of the WhatsApp platform. But to get
yes,
all the, you have it on your e-learn.
Okay, ma, please, how will I join the WhatsApp platform, ma? I'm not there.
To paste the link in the group.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Now, you people are not responding. Paste it.
Thank you so much, ma.
Paste the link now. Why are you being paste the link, let them join, let them click from here and join. So Bishop, last but not the least, Bishop.
Okay, good afternoon, ma. I appreciate for.
Good afternoon.
And I think part of my questions has been asked already.
All right.
Actually, I chatted you, or I made the chat earlier. I think you can see my chat and you reply to one of my chats. But I'm not seeing other people's chats. So I don't really know. And what I said earlier that I've been attended to is about the links and WhatsApp link. I've not been able to access that. And still, if they get it posted here, I'm not still seeing any chats from the platform.
Okay, you've not been able to what? Okay, you are not seeing chats.
I'm not seeing any chats. It's only yours that I'm seeing. I can see your chats. I don't really know.
I don't know too. I apologize. I don't know.
And can I ask of a favor, ma?
What favor?
Like some courses we are offering as well. When you go to some courses that we are offering as well, like GST 101.
Some what?
After the courses we are offering, like GST 101, after the lectures, the screen, the lecturer at times normally posts it, and through this your own notes, I think it helps students to read and to cover certain speed.
They post what?
Unlike your shared screen, the screen you are sharing to us now, they normally post it, and through it really helps us to.
You mean the slides?
Your screen, you are sharing your screen right now.
Yes.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So now the shared screen, we can easily read up and cover certain things through.
The slides that I'm sharing, Abby.
Okay. Yes, that's what I'm saying. It's if unlike in our modules, people can access it. That would be lovely. We will appreciate that. And I think I've seen what you shared. Thank you, ma. Thanks for the
I sent it to you.
Yes, ma. I appreciate it. I've seen it.
So we've come to the end of the class. It's actually 4:30. So that will be all for today. That will be all for today. For those of you who sent me assignments, thank you. Some of you who read and didn't send, thank you. You all are not wrong. Okay, so that's that about that. Try and for those of you who are joining newly, join the WhatsApp group and interact with your colleagues. Check your e-learn platform, download Moodle app, set up your email. At least if one doesn't work, one will work. So don't rely on just one means. They've told you use Moodle, use email, check e-learn platform. All those 3 places, information is posted there for you, such that if your email is not working, your Moodle will work. If Moodle is not working, you can easily log on to your e-learn, check. That's the idea. I wish you all the best. Happy Ramadan to our Muslim brothers and Lenten season to our Muslim brothers, to our Christian brother, and whatever to the traditionalists. So that nobody says, I let you out. Okay. So you are on mute now. And be able, you can unmute yourself now. Unmute yourself and we call it a day.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you very much. God bless you.
Enjoy your class.
Thank you. Blessed weekend, everyone.
Thank you.
Ma'am. Have a lovely weekend.
Thank you, ma'am.
If they ask you who opened the
Thank you very much. I really enjoyed the class. Bye.
Bye, guys. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. That's the thing.
Go and scratch it. Don't hug me. Go back.